You're listening to the Creator Mindset Podcast, episode number 2.
Welcome to the Creator Mindset Podcast, where artists, performers, and entrepreneurs share knowledge that will kick off your career and take you to the next level. Turn your vision into reality with your host, Ariane Lianza Hines.
In this episode, I interview Jae Cabrera, singer-songwriter from New York, living in Toronto, Canada. He shares how he started to use Instagram to gain more fans and build a community around his art. He shares how his process goes and how to stand out from the crowd. This is why I created a freebie about Instagram for you to download for free at www.arianelianzahines.com/2. Let's dive into today's episode with Jae. Jae is a singer-songwriter with a soulful and energetic style that blends R&B and pop. Jae started on the New York music scene at a young age, and he has worked with labels as well as booking and promoting his own show in the underground scene. Since the beginning of 2017, he grew his Instagram following from a couple of thousands to now more than 20,000. He built a strategy with the Instagram social media platform and continues to work on perfecting his sound with his longtime collaborator and mentor, Angelo Doc Velasquez. Jae, welcome.
Hello. Hi, Ariane. How are you today?
Thank you. Yes, I'm very well. And you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being part of my first podcast series. And Jae was one of the speakers at the Creator Mindset Summit this summer, and we kept in touch during the last month because I was really fascinated about how he grew his Instagram following so fast. At the end of June, when we did the interview, he was maybe at 14,000 and now is almost at 21,000 followers. Is that correct, Jae?
That is correct. It's nice and steady.
You boomed on Instagram and you're concentrating on that specific platform.
At the beginning of this year, I was thinking of a way to bring some more exposure to not only myself as an artist and my music, but just I wanted to share my love of singing, my love of music and entertaining. And, I remember an idea popped in my head. It was New Year's Day. It was, I don't know, maybe 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And I'm thinking, okay, here we are, 2017. I'd been doing some stuff, making some progress last year, but I wanted to try and come up with a way to expand on that. And I had seen Instagram. There's so many talented singers and artists and musicians. So many to count. It's crazy the level of talent that's out there. And I wanted to, see if I could sort of do something similar where I see people post, they're like doing covers of songs or, posting, they're working on originals, they post themselves singing, and they're great, and I wanted to do something that was going to be, have some type of an impact in that sense, but more I thought about every day. And I hadn't really seen anyone that would post every single day, either, singing, performing, maybe they're writing their own song or what have you. And I ended up just looking up a hashtag that said one song a day. And, there are quite a few that were using that hashtag. So I looked up one song a day for 2017 to get a little bit more specific, and there was nothing. So I just was like, okay, I'm going to use that. And I just decided, I will, I'll start, with the one song. I tell myself, all right, how hard could that be? One song a day. It's, shouldn't be too hard, right? And I started just the first song I did was on New Year's Day was George Michael, Father Figure. And with Instagram, they only give you 60 seconds for video. So I felt it was a perfect amount of time just to maybe catch people's attention, you know? We all have busy lives, we're all kind of on the go sometimes where, you don't always have time to watch a full song or something to that effect. And I think 60 seconds is the perfect amount of time where you're able to kind of showcase what you do and how you can be as an artist and it just makes it a lot easier to digest with how fast-paced things are, especially with technology. And just as each day went along, and we'll talk about this later, but just, specific hashtags that you use based on the type of audience that you're trying to cater to. And I sort of noticed that a good friend of mine, she does a lot of consulting on with social media, and I asked her for at some point as I started doing these posts, I did ask her, for some advice, like ways to attract an audience, and it really is hashtags, because hashtags are very specific. For the type of music I do, pop R&B, you can hashtag R&B music. You can hashtag R&B, you can hashtag pop or pop music or what have you. And, when you're on Instagram, Instagram users, they can search either by your handle, your screen name, or through hashtags, which is why they're definitely very important. But that element is what really started the steady increase of followers. Also, I would do some research myself, like say R&B music, for instance. I'd search the hashtag, and what's great is on Instagram you have your top posts, and then you have your most recent. So, when I have time, I'd look through, and if there's certain posts that I would like the post, and if it was interesting enough, I would click on their profile. And then I would look and see some of their other posts, and if it was, it was something that I liked, then I would follow them. And it was sort of this. There's such a supportive community that I've been finding on Instagram, where if you're showing support for an artist, they will reciprocate, and a lot of times, they will end up sharing it with the people that are in their network, and those people will share it with those in their network, and so on and so forth. And that's where you then start to see, as each day would pass, and I'd post every day, it was, I could start to see those results over time, and yeah, I mean, it's still like, I mean, it's fun for me, so I don't know, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, like, okay, this is many people that are following me. Okay, that's cool. Like, so it's more like my love of music, and and my wanting just to share it. I mean, look, people are gonna like it, people aren't, and that's okay. But the ones that do like it and follow, if they're entertained, and they, I can bring a smile to their face, once a day for 60 seconds, that's awesome.
Absolutely. And tell us about the process. How long does it take you? How do you choose a song? How do you film it? All this.
That is a good question. The process, I like to, I'm a night owl, so I tend to post, at least we're in my time zone, which is the east coast of North America. So I usually tend to post late. And I've found that there's, from what I've heard and just, like my friends that consult with social media, there's a certain like time frame of when is the best time to post, because the analytics say this is when the most people are viewing, but Instagram is a global platform, so I mean, time zone wise, it's depending on where you are in the world, it's a different time for you. Like some people will be midday, some people it's late night, some people it's dinner time, some it's lunchtime. So it's you can't really pinpoint a certain time. It's just, for me, that's sort of when I tend to feel the most creative, is at night. So I tend not to think about what I'm gonna sing until I'm ready to like start the process. And so far I'm averaging about say 2 to 3 hours before I actually will post it. So when I decide what I'm gonna sing, it just really depends on how I feel that day. Or if I've set aside a theme for the series of posts. Let's just say, for instance, February was hashtag all about love, so I was all love songs for February. March was all 80s. It was an 80s theme, so the whole month it was all 80s music. So I mean, at that point, when there's a specific theme, then it's a little more focused, because then I have an era to choose from, whether it's pop or R&B or country or rock or what have you. When I do sort of a mixed month like this month is, it really just depends on how I'm feeling. So like last week, for instance, I was kind of on this sort of R&B, neo-soul, like 2000s R&B vibe. So that's what most of the songs I did last week were, from the 2000s, I know there was one week I did country. There's one week I did boy bands. So it just really depends. And then, when I'm ready, then, I don't know, like I have so much, music that I listen to. It's sometimes it's just hard to decide what I'm gonna sing until I'm like ready and everything is set up to record. Then what I'll do is when I've picked a song, then I'll do a couple of runs on it just to make sure vocally I'm feeling up to it for that particular song. And there's some nights where I'll go through 3 songs before I'm feeling like, okay, I think this is the one that I'll post tonight. And then the other ones I'll scrap, and maybe redo those or revisit those if I'm feeling those at a different time. But yeah, I mean, it's from going through the songs a few times, and it's singing the full song. So you figure, these songs are, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm singing them, 5, 6, 7 times. It just depends, how I'm feeling, and if it's a good day, I may, record it, and I'll get it on like the first time or the second time, and I'm like, oh, perfect, so that'll be one of those short days where I'll post it, within like an hour and a half. And then there's other nights where if I'll sing the one song, I'm like, oh no, that's not the one, I'll try another one. Oh, that's not the one, I'll try another one. Oh no, that's not the one for tonight. So then those nights it can go up to 3 hours before I actually post the one that I felt was the best one for that day. I mean, setup wise, I mean, I don't know if I should give away my secret of where I record.
Up to you.
But it's a good room, for acoustically, it's good. It's good for the voice, I feel. But yeah, I record right on my iPhone, and and I have it I use the front facing camera so I can make sure I frame myself correctly. And then music wise, I try and find, once I decide what song, I try and see if I could find like an interesting instrumental or an interesting acoustic version of it online, maybe on YouTube or whatnot. Just, when, as much as I can, when I do these posts, I at least want it to be a little bit different than just, making it like karaoke, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Now, some of the music, that's the only way you'll find the instrumental is a karaoke version, and that's okay. I mean, it happens. But but there's definitely you can find a lot of very cool like instrumental covers of a lot of these songs on the internet, and it's cool because you still want it to be your own take on it, put your own flavor on it, and sonically just something a little bit different than just playing the regular song,
Yeah, and that takes you about 2 to 3 hours every day.
2 to 3 hours. Yeah, I'd say the longest was like just a little over 3 hours, but generally I'll fall within that 2 to 3 hour time frame. So I usually will start around like 10 p.m. and by 1, it's usually posted by around 1 a.m. my time here.
So tell us a little bit about the takeaway and the advices you can give musicians who want to build a following on Instagram. So I know you talked a little bit about hashtags, staying consistent, finding your niche.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think those are important. The hashtags are important. Consistency, yes. The content and performance. Make sure that that it is as solid as can be, and that you're putting out what you feel people would want to see. Now, for me, I guess it was more along the lines of the people that started to follow me they'd send me messages like, "What are you singing tonight?" And it's sort of almost creating that anticipation with your followers as to what are you going to do next, but definitely be consistent, make sure that on a performance level that you're putting your best performance forward, and then also it's good to engage with your followers whenever possible. Like if they take the time to watch and comment, I always like to try and respond back, as soon as I can. I'll go onto their feeds and show the same support whenever I can, and it helps to create more of a closeness with your audience. When you can engage with them, on a consistent basis.
Absolutely. We've talked in the Creator Mindset Summit, some of the speakers talked about really nurturing and making your audience grow with you. It's about, nowadays with the social media, it's about building a community and not just throwing your songs out there and hoping someone will like them.
You have to definitely, you have to put yourself out there, but you also have to be proactive. And that's, when I talk about sort of the engagement factor and researching, certain hashtags, it's good. A general rule of thumb, at least what I've found is, you want to find hashtags where you're maybe looking at posts. There's maybe like 100,000 to 200,000 posts in that hashtag versus, say, a hashtag where if you search a hashtag and it says, 2 million, it'll be harder. You'll get lost because so many people are using that hashtag that as soon as you post, within seconds, your post has gone from the first one to like the 20th. And if people are searching, on Instagram, just kind of on the discover page, it's hard. It'll be harder for your post to stand out if your hashtags that you're using get lost in sort of the larger number of posts.
Can you tell us a little bit about finding your niche? I mean, you found your niche somehow by...
It just was sort of just, to be honest, it just kind of just happened. Like, it's hard to explain because I wasn't like looking to be like, okay, I'm going to target this audience. It was more just like, you know what, I want to sing a song a day, and I'm going to use this hashtag because no one's used it, and then I'm just going to do it and see what happens. And, funny enough, like, okay, it's just...
the other people who are doing something similar, what are they doing, and what kind of advice can you give musicians who want to find a hashtag or...
Just to definitely do some research. Definitely do the research and think about your audience. If you're a country singer, look up, everything that has to do with country music, like, just what's great is when you're on Instagram and you search, if you just type in hashtag country, that will be the first one, but then there's a whole list of hashtags that have the word country in it. So explore, look and see, like, okay, if there's a hashtag, it's country and something in it that maybe you think would relate to you as a country artist, go to that hashtag and see who's posting using that hashtag. What are they posting? What does their content look like? That's a start. That's a good way to start. And then look at other artists maybe that you follow and look in their posts, like, what kind of hashtags are they using? Now, some of the major artists, they don't really utilize that as much because they're at their certain level. But as for independent artists like ourselves that are still trying to, navigate our way through, when you look at other indie artists that maybe have a good following, I'll look at their posts and I'll see, hey, okay, what kind of hashtags are they using? And, sometimes I'll see hashtags where I'm like, oh, I never thought of that one. Okay, then I'll explore it because you can tap on the hashtag and look at all the posts using that hashtag. So it definitely, like, the tools are literally at our disposal. It's with you all the time. We use our phones like crazy, so it's on you. Your tools are with you, all the time. So, but you definitely have to. There is work involved. You have to put the work in. If you want to see at least some of those results, if you want to see the needle move even a little bit, you have to put some of that work in, for sure.
Of course. So tell us a bit about what you're working on right now with your songs and how you're launching. What's your plan?
Okay, so right now we're pushing the current single, which is called Show Out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and all the major music outlets. It's on SoundCloud as well. Actually, since we last spoke, Show Out has been nominated for a TIMA, which is a Toronto Independent Music Award, in the Best Urban category. So that's exciting.
Congratulations!
That's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
I know, thank you. It's
very exciting.
I remember when I got the email saying that it was nominated, I kind of had to do a double take. Like, I was like, wait, let me read this again. I was like, oh, okay. Because look, for me, we put it out, and the best you can hope for is you put it out and people will listen. And then if they listen and they like it, they'll want to share it with their friends. Hey, did you hear this new song? Blah blah blah. But I love SoundCloud. SoundCloud is a great way to sort of test out some new material. So, for instance, like right now, I think Show Out is at 120,000 plays on SoundCloud. And we launched it on Spotify and iTunes after it hit 100,000. It's a good gauge in terms of, okay, if this many people are playing it and listening to it, okay, now let's give them another avenue to access the music. So the next single, which is called Love Tomorrow, that just hit 100,000 plays on SoundCloud. So that's probably going to be the next single that we'll put out soon. But as far as musically, those two things are the focus right now. Yes, I've been, getting emails from producers or beat makers, so to speak, on Instagram that, based on my song a day posts, they have sent me tracks that they would like me to either write to or see if I can write to and sing to, which is cool. And actually, there were two songs. This producer Kevin Miller from I believe he's from Seattle he had gotten in touch with me on Instagram and SoundCloud and Twitter, actually, all three of those, and we chatted for a little bit, messaging each other, and he sent me a few beats, and there were two that I actually ended up using for my posts, because, and I think I didn't mention this, but in my one song a day posts every Wednesday, I call it Indie Wednesday, and I will do one of my songs on those days. So at least once a week, you get an original song from me. So two of those, I ended up using two of the beats he sent me, and I wrote a little something, and I put it up there. Now we haven't actually recorded them yet, but for me it's another fun way to sort of share the process and get an idea of temperature on the song. Like, okay, are people commenting? Do they like it? Have they viewed it? Stuff like that. So it definitely will give me a better idea in terms of what the next song would be.
Yes. And did your growth in Instagram followers give you opportunities? I think it did.
Yes, actually, we did. I know the last time we spoke, I had, at that particular time, back in June, earlier that month, I was contacted by, there's a big music festival here in Burlington, Ontario in Canada, called the Burlington Sound of Music Festival. It is the largest free outdoor music festival in Canada. Now, they always do a kickoff concert that kicks off the week of the festival, it's a ticketed concert, but the people that were running the social media for the festival had reached out to me based on my one song a day posts, and they had asked me if I was interested in being one of their Instagram influencers for the event, which I thought was pretty cool. I was like, sure, why not? Basically what they had wanted me to do was to post 2 times leading up to the kickoff concert, and then once after the festival was done. So it wasn't a lot to do, but I said, okay, that's cool. And then I said, you know what, I have a suggestion, and you guys can tell me if you think it's cool or not, if you like it. I said, since the kickoff concert was at that time was June 10th, I said, well, I could incorporate my one song a day posts in the lead up and go from June 1st up until the 9th, and I could do a song from each of the artists that are playing the kickoff concert. And they thought the idea was pretty cool, so they gave me the green light to do it. And I'm hoping it brought some attention to the festival. So that was a pretty cool thing to do with them. I also was contacted by, it's a company called Musician Wellness, and they make a vocal throat spray called Vocal Easy. That I looked it up when they had messaged me about it. I had looked it up, and it's definitely something that a lot of artists out there are using, and they were interested in bringing me on as an ambassador. I will say that just as of a few weeks ago, I am officially one of their first artist ambassadors. So they've basically are sponsoring me for a year with products, and in return, I will sort of mention them in my posts, and use certain hashtags to help promote their brand as well. And being that they had sent me some product, early on in the year, and I've used it, and it works. It definitely helps, especially for singers and musicians. It's some great product. So I was ecstatic that they even would consider doing that partnership with me.
Of course.
So that's something that just happened within the last couple of weeks. So that's awesome.
It is really awesome. It's beautiful. You put yourself out there, and then opportunities come, and you don't know which ones, but then let the door open and they will flow.
And they'll flow. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to, I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemy.
I think it's most of the time.
We always tend to doubt. I mean, like, it still happens with me. I'm like, I don't know. When I'm doing my post, I'm like, do I want to post this one? I mean, it's good, but I don't know. So I still I'm like, I don't know if they're going to like it. I don't know. And it's just always that little bit of self-doubt where you have to I got to go snap out of it. Okay, no. You've been doing this. You're like 270 and people are watching. They like it, this, that. I'm like, okay, I trust myself. All right, post, done.
Yes, absolutely. So. And today, would you be willing to sing us a song?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. What would you like to sing?
I mean, I can do it a cappella. You know what? I'll sing the single that we're looking to release next, called "Love Tomorrow." So
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, and if you want to listen to it, you can go on to SoundCloud and have a ball with it. So this is it's a cappella. This is called "Love Tomorrow." You can call it love, my bad. I just said whatever like that. She just wanna go home. She said just leave her alone. Guess her eyes don't lie when she asked me why. It's hard to tell the truth if love don't wanna hurt you. I think I love you tonight, but I know I love her tomorrow. Oh, I'm so I think I love you, and not tomorrow. Don't know why I am confused.
Thank you. Wow, bravo.
Snippet there. I think I was in tune there. I don't know. See, there's that self-doubt coming in there, like, I don't know.
There you go. And even if you were just 75% of the time on tune, I think it's all pretty awesome that you did. I think it was okay. Absolutely. Thank you. And of course, I will put in the show notes everything you need to know about Jae, all the links to his SoundCloud, Instagram, website. So go onto the show notes of this episode. And thank you so much, Jae, for being with me today.
Thank you, Ariane. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. So I thank you very, very much. And thank you guys for listening.
Till next time.
Yes.
Jae has been consistent on his content of one song a day for 2017. And at this moment, he has now 22,000 followers. I have created a freebie just for you to download. I love this freebie, and I put all the tips he says about, and some more about Instagram. If you're ready to turn your vision into reality, get it for free at www.arianelianzaheinz.com/2. There, you'll find also the links to get in touch with Jae and follow him on Instagram. Did you like this episode? Subscribe, share, and give us a review on iTunes. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Creator Mindset podcast at www.arianelianzaheinz.com.